It is Friday. It is a football Friday. And while the New York Giants go for a 2-0 start, and a lot of people think that's on the table, and it's going to happen, the New York Jets look to avoid the 0-1, 0-2 start with Joe Flacco. And it's one simple question. Can someone tell me why Zach Wilson's not playing? Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, Kit?
I'm doing all right. I love me some football Fridays, especially when there's a chill in the air. And I don't know if you felt it this morning.
I'm chilly all day today. It said they have the air conditioning on still. Last night got a little chilly. I had the windows open. It was nice to be able to have a little fresh air coming into the house without using an air conditioner.
Yeah.
We're about a month away from a roaring fire on a Sunday morning. And it's weird because if you go 0-2 in the last 30 years, only 11% of all the teams that started season off 0-2 have made it to the postseason. That is a bad number, all right? If you go 2-0, you have about a 60% chance of making the playoffs.
Look at this guy whipping out the stats right out of the gate.
Well, I'm doing a sports show now, so I know all these things, right? Right. So it's just, look, the Jets aren't going anywhere this year. We know that. The Giants, though, because the injury to Dak Prescott, the Commodores aren't all that good. And we got to see how good the Eagles really are. I'll agree right off the bat. As much as it pains me to say it, the Eagles are probably the most talented team in the NFC East. But the Cowboys took a step backwards with the injury to Dak Prescott. The Giants won a game nobody thought they were going to win to open it up. So, as you start looking at, stealing wins here and there, are the Giants good enough now? Not that they're huge favorites, of course, but to beat a team at home that I think we all do agree they should beat. No?
Should beat?
Oh, you're not willing to say they should beat them.
I
think the Giants should win.
I understand. I understand the enthusiasm. I'm jealous of the enthusiasm.
Okay.
When you win week 1 in the NFL, there's this special feeling that you have.
How would you and I possibly know that?
I have no idea what it feels like. It's been a very long time.
It's been 14 consecutive losses in September.
But I'm not ready after 1 week, one great week, one glorious week, to say the Giants should beat anybody.
All right. So would you at least say Giants, Panthers, Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, Giants, maybe get a couple guys back for Sunday? That at least is a toss-up?
Well, they have a
Is
shot.
That fair?
They have a shot. They need to get a pass rush. They didn't get any kind of pass rush last week. They need to put some pressure on Baker Mayfield. Kayvon looks like he's going to play. Azeez Ojulari, their best pass rusher, is probably not going to play. And guess what? And this is going to be the formula all season long. They're going to need Saquon Barkley to be Superman. They're going to need that.
Yes.
And he was in week 1. And he was the difference in week 1.
Now, that scares me also. If they become over-reliant on a guy who's been hurt,
they have
obviously.
To. No, they have to.
That's possibly troublesome.
But, Craig, here's why they have to, and it hasn't been talked about for a week, and I get why. The Giants won a football game, so why focus on the negatives? Daniel Jones was pressured 67% of the time last week when he dropped back to pass. 67% of the time.
It's too much.
Look, Andrew Thomas is great. We all know that. Outside of Andrew Thomas, there's still major questions on this offensive line. And he was pressured 70% of the time, nearly 70% of the time. They only asked Daniel Jones to drop back 21 times.
Yeah.
And exactly throw the football many times. So when you say, well, that's asking a lot, that's the reality.
Yeah.
The reality is you are going to ask a lot offensively from Saquon Barkley.
You want to ride you want to ride the horse until the horse, is belly up in the stable, I guess. But here's the interesting thing. When you steal a win on the road that most people don't think you're going to win, and that's fair, very few people thought the Giants were going to start off the season on the road in Tennessee, the number 1 seed last year, with Derrick Henry and all the things they've got going for them, and not knowing what Daniel Jones was going to be or how Brian Dable was going to coach. Let's be honest. The Giants took a W in a place that very few people thought they were going to win. And you're right. With that, the attitude towards the team changes completely.
Yes.
We're not looking at the warts and the pimples. We're now celebrating the fact that they're 1-0, that they're in love with their head coach who's dancing in the locker room. And, oh, by the way, you don't have a Super Bowl champion coming into town. you have a team that's also trying to figure out who they are with a brand new quarterback in Baker Mayfield, the team that did give up a lead late and lose to the Cleveland Browns last week.
A team that couldn't stop the run a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they let Nick Chubb run all over them. Kareem Hunt scored twice. So this was a team defensively last week that had a big-time issue stopping the run, and that's going to be the formula for the Giants.
I'm feeling very positive about the New York Giants.
Why?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
The answer is easy. I don't know why you're saying you don't know.
Because they won last week.
Because they won last week.
And I don't know how good Carolina's going to be. I said before the season, full transparency, that I thought Carolina with Baker Mayfield was going to fight for a wild card spot.
Wait a second.
I did.
Let me get this straight.
That's right. I said I did.
I didn't think that.
I may have to amend that, though.
Yeah.
I may have to amend that because they did lose to the Cleveland Browns, and I think the Browns are going to suck.
Okay, so after 1 week, everything has changed in your mind? Like, we have to be careful with 1 week in the NFL, and that's not me telling a Giant fan they shouldn't have enjoyed what they did in week one.
Evan,
but I just listened to you for 30 seconds, basically say in so many words.
Go right ahead.
Everything I thought about the Carolina Panthers and the New York Giants, it's all different because of 1 week.
Evan, you may not
Is
know
that really
this.
how you look at things in the NFL?
You may not know this, but, you know, a week in the NFL is like 9.5 games in baseball.
Right.
And if my baseball team started off 9-0, I'd probably rethink what I thought a week ago, right? So the New York Giants...
Don't use my points against me. Don't do that.
I feel differently about the New York Giants than I did a week ago. And to be fair, I also feel differently about Carolina. I thought they would be much better in their week one game against Cleveland. I did not give Cleveland a fighter's chance even, with Jacoby Brissett quarterbacking for them. I discounted Myles Garrett. To be fair, I was wrong.
Did you discount the run game of the Cleveland Browns, which is going to be a big issue for the Jets on Sunday?
I discounted all of it. To me, it's Cleveland. So I listen. I blindfolded myself and said the Cleveland Browns are going to suck, and I was wrong.
It's 1 week in the NFL.
Yeah.
And while
that's all I got,
there's nothing wrong with developing optimism from 1 week or developing, I guess, some negativity from 1 week.
Are you saying that I'm overreacting to a single game?
Yes.
Is that the argument you're about to make?
Yes.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Look, I don't know at what point do I look at a team completely differently in an NFL season.
How many games do they have to play?
I don't know. I think it's different for everything that you watch.
I think I speak for Giant fans. Sorry to interrupt you. I think I have the finger on the pulse of the Giant fan right now. Which is what? The New York Giant fan right now has got a semi. I think
you want to specify that one? What does that mean?
Look,
semi what?
You know what? I think the New York Giant fan out there right now is saying, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but boy, I think we're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but there's a difference.
I think we're going to be 2-0.
There's a difference between.
How about that? I think the Giant fans get a little cocky, a little arrogant right now, and I like it.
There's a difference between being enthusiastic and excited from what happened in week one. You should be. No one should tell you otherwise. There's another difference to say, everything I thought about this team, everything I thought about it has completely changed. Like, have you really already ready to do that with this Giant team? An offensive line that didn't protect Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, who had the brutal turnover, you're always fearful. Right. A pass rush that was non-existent. Now, that can change once Thibodeau and Ajulari are out there.
Their two biggest, pass rushers.
One of their starting corners, and Aaron Robinson's not playing on Sunday. He's out. Like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. New York Giants are special. Listen, I'm not even a Giant fan, and I'm telling you, I wish I was, because there's so much hope right now.
Well, no. You're
Giantville.
But you're basing that on how down we are on the Jets.
Listen, that's very,
not
very
exactly
fair.
the view that you now have about the Giants.
I guess my point is this. Listen, I obviously, like you, I hope the Jets win. I have no expectation of them winning. I think there's as good a chance they win as we have a press conference with Robert Saleh after the game, who's taking receipts from people for being critical that they lost to the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what the hell the Jets are going to do. I have no confidence right now in the New York Jets, okay? None whatsoever. And I'm envious, frankly, because I'm sick of it.
I'm envious, too. I'm with you on that.
I'm sick and tired of an 0-1 start, an 0-2 start, a 1-5 start. I'm sick of it.
That's why Giant fans are enthusiastic.
Yes,
because
they should be.
Because they haven't had a 1-0 start in like 5 years.
Dude,
so obviously, yes, it's like a different feeling. When was the last time the Giants played a game at MetLife Stadium and they had a winning record? When was the last time?
Oh, Jesus, I couldn't even tell you.
So you got to go back to their playoff year. You got to go back to the Love Boat season.
Is that how far it's been?
You have to go back to when Ben McAdoo is the coach. And speaking of him,
yes,
he's making his return on Sunday.
Yes, he is.
How about that?
80,000 strong. MetLife Stadium is going to be off the hizzy on Sunday, and I'm jealous of it. The only good news for me and for you is that we don't have to watch it because the schedule makers of the NFL, after the last 5 years of watching the Jets and Giants have the worst records in all football, decided that the New York market no longer matters when it comes to allowing Jet and Giant fans to separate from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock so that we can both watch, depending on who you root for, both games. Because as New Yorkers, you like to watch the Jet game and the Giant game.
I grew up
and I hate it. Harold Katz, you stink at making the schedule when it comes specifically to the Jets and Giants. Gosh darn it. Both teams playing at 1 o'clock. I don't have 5 TVs like Evan does.
No, but even with 5 TVs, this isn't ideal. I grew up being able to watch both the Jets and the Giants all the time. We all did.
Of course
and
you did.
I don't know what happened, and maybe it's as simple as what you said, that both teams have sucked now
that's all it is.
For so long.
Because we used to protect the New York audience and market because there's so many of us.
So, but wait a second. Does that mean if the Jets and Giants turn it around, they're going to finally rid ourselves of them both playing at 1 o'clock half the season?
Yeah.
So we just need both teams to be better? That's it? Okay.
No. You just need one team to be good. If the Giants make the playoffs this year, there will not be a single game next year where the Jets and Giants play at the same time. Not one.
Dude, it's got to end,
Not
man.
one. I hate it. I hate it.
It's bad enough that you've got pennant race baseball going on at the same time. Nothing you do about that. It's going to happen. Jacob deGrom's on the mound on a Sunday.
What time is that game?
1:40. Same time.
So you've got Jets and Giants at 1 o'clock, DeGrom at 1:40 in a pennant race.
And guess what happens at 2 o'clock? Garrett Cole's on the mound for the New York Yankees.
This is a train wreck. I need to go buy 3 more television sets now, and I don't have the money for it. Can I borrow one of yours?
No.
Anyway, if you're a diehard football fan, we are back. Last night's game was great. Second half, obviously, better than the first half. I was telling Evan off the air, every time I watch the Kansas City Chiefs play, there are two immediate thoughts that come to mind, right? Thought number one is, how come my team doesn't play the same sport that team plays?
I always have that feeling.
It's like they play a different sport. It's like cricket versus baseball. It looks similar, but it's different,
unrecognizable. When you go from watching Joe Flacco with no time to throw being a statue, and then you watch Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert play football,
it's unbelievable.
It's like, what is this?
Yeah, so that's the first thing I think when I watch the Kansas City Chiefs play. I'm just, I was born in the wrong city. I was born to the wrong people in the wrong city at the wrong time. The other thing I think when I watch Kansas City play is I expect them to score a touchdown every single drive. Because I'm not sure. I know a lot of you, much older than me, I'm a very young man, who watched Fran Tarkenton play, say you felt the same way when he was running around all over the place.
Making a Fran Tarkenton reference?
That's right, I am. That's right.
You didn't just skip one generation.
Yeah.
You're like, let me skip 2 generations.
Or when the Eagle fans got to see Randall Cunningham do his thing, which was ahead of his time, frankly.
How about when Sid Luckman was doing his thing?
When Sid Luckman was at Columbia getting the job done and hiding the fact that his dad was a mobster from everybody.
How about when
That's right.
Sammy Ball was doing his thing?
Sammy Ball, I never saw play. Sammy Ball, I did not see.
You just missed him?
No, I just missed that. Yeah, and I didn't read any books about him either. But I did read a book about Sid Luckman and the mobster and all that stuff. Oh, great book, by the way. I forget what it was called.
Do you also think to yourself, hey, how many times will Patrick Mahomes be saved by something that negates an interception?
Bad penalty call.
Whether it's an overturn that shouldn't have been overturned or an illegal contact?
But
do you think that's going to happen
so let's just go over the first thing you said there, right? Because, again, I had no rooting interest in it. You did not.
I had no rooting interest.
We just wanted to see a good game, and we got a good game. So, the NFL delivered the goods last night. Other than it being on Amazon, which we can talk about later, it was a great game last night,
Tremendous.
Right? So, obviously, the big story from last night, of course, is about the Asante Samuel Jr. interception that got overturned for 2 reasons they claimed afterwards. One, the ball does make contact with the ground. It did. Can't deny that. And number 2, they claim, which I do counter, that the ball moved. He had the ball perfectly cradled. It did touch the ground, but the new rule is if you have control, part of the ball can touch the ground. That ball never moved.
Right.
Here's why, though, in my opinion, they ruled that it was not an interception. That's what the Samuels do. They drop
you're getting on
interceptions.
Asante Samuel's dad now, going back to the Super Bowl?
That's right.
No, they screwed up.
That's what they do. They drop interceptions. And by the way, if he caught it cleanly, which he should have.
He should have, yeah.
He probably takes it to the house.
Right. You left out one very important part that I think drops the mic on why this is a screw-up.
All right.
The rule in the NFL is they'll overturn calls that are, quote, clear and obvious. Those are the words. Those aren't my words. Those are the NFL's words.
Then you got me on that. I can't defend that. Yep.
Clear and obvious. So I'll ask anybody, even if you think, I think I saw a little moment, whatever you think. Was that clear and obvious? And if you're answering, it was clear and obvious,
then you're lying.
You're lying. It wasn't clear and obvious. So that should not have been overturned. It should have been an interception. I don't say this in any kind of rooting interest, bitter way. Right. I know in our picks yesterday, I took the Chargers. I don't give a rat's ass how my picks do. I gotta be honest with you. I hope I do well. I'm watching the game for fun. And that was an atrocious overturn.
It also led to the Kansas City's only touchdown of the quarter.
It changed the game. But what I loved about the game, besides the bad officiating, is I love when two great offenses play. This reminds me of a playoff game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers in 2008 or 2009. It was Aaron Rodgers' first ever postseason game. So I'm not going back that far.
Was that the overtime game?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I remember about that game, I think the final score was 55-48. Was that the final score? Kurt Warner, Aaron Rodgers.
Good.
Here's what I loved about that game. One of the great offensive games of all time, one of the great quarterback duels of all time. It ended on a defensive play. It was a game-winning fumble recovery for a touchdown. Yesterday's impact play was a turnover, was a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. So we can do whatever, we can say whatever you want about Justin Herbert. Oh, he's amazing. He's playing with injured ribs.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is great. That play of the game involved neither guy positively.
Yeah,
it was
true.
a defensive play.
Yeah, and the guy was a 7th-round draft pick who are apparently, within the last year, was working at Wendy's with his mom.
Crazy, right?
Flipping burgers, making $15 an hour, and now he's on Thursday Night Football taking an interception, 99 yards.
Tremendous.
And he had a great story afterwards. He blacked out.
Right.
He apparently has no recollection of running the 99 yards for the touchdown because I guess the adrenaline kicks in or whatever it is.
Right.
But listen, football was great last night. We got great football this weekend. Can the Giants do the unthinkable? Get to 2-0, and can the Jets avoid the 0-2 start, which is the only way they start? And what are we going to say and do about Robert Saleh if this Jet team, with his handpicked backup quarterback, Joe Flacco, loses to the Cleveland effing Browns? We got plenty of baseball today as well, and we got you throughout the afternoon. Don't forget, we also have Lisa Ann's fantasy picks a little bit later on today as well. And I went back and I listened to her appearance last week. She nailed it last week.
Oh, she did, yeah.
She had, I always ask her, who's the person you would start, that a lot of people aren't talking about? She gave us 2 last week, and she was on the money with both.